Dear guests from far and near, dear friends, I want to warmly welcome you to the first meeting of the Digital Ancient Near Eastern Studies Conference. It is totally by chance that 2023 will be remembered as the year in which the postmodern oracle ChatGPT stormed into our lives. 2023 marks the year when AI disrupts the information revolution and with it humanity's research. Just wait for the end of March that the Bing search will start to arrive. It thus seems like the perfect year to create a network for those who study the ancient Near East using computational methods. This network is intended to be inclusive, open to everyone from the humanities to computer science scholars and beyond. The network is meant to create an active dialogue over shared problems, methodologies, and exciting discoveries. The goal of this conference is to initiate a network by bringing together this group of experts and deciding together what issues are important and where to direct our focus. Already by the end of the first day, we will convene and put our minds together in order to reach some initial decisions on how the day's networks might look. But first, in order to create some context for where we are going, we should say a word about where we came from. None of what we want is by any means new. Already in the 1960s, Hans Gutenberg stated that the use of electronic data processing devices for research in the fields of linguistics and philology is by now fairly common. In the context of his work on the computer analysis of Hittite at Chicago. Also at Chicago, Eric Reiner in the 1970s has already postulated the idea of teaching a machine to read cuneiform, not only to advance the understanding of cuneiform languages, but also as a gauge to how our brains understand language. Not to mention the many seminal works and projects of the 80s, 90s, and aughts, which brought us the Neo-Assyrian text corpus at Helsinki, ETCSL, CDLI, ORAC, BDDNS, Unicode Cuneiform, just to name a few projects, of course many more. To this can be added the recent breakthroughs achieved by the Electronic Babylonian Library project in Munich. What is different now then? What should be the purpose of the goals of digital ancient Near Eastern studies in this decade? I would argue that what is different today is that we have incredible databases, unprecedented methods, and new infrastructures which make digital ancient Near Eastern studies more accessible, the possibilities greater and easier to perform. As to what purposes and goals we should have, I will leave that for all of us to discuss together over the following days. I promised you a small surprise before the conference, and now I shall reveal it. The first thing that my lab will contribute to the sustainment of this network is a new platform called Open Danes. It is an open platform for tutorials and pedagogical materials dealing with computational methods for the study of ancient artifacts. It will be online immediately after the conference, sustained on a static website, and every contribution will be published while undergoing expert peer review to get user feedback in addition to that peer review. The first contribution by Matthew Ong from Berkeley will show how to linguistically annotate cuneiform texts with available digital tools like Inception. We hope this will become a valuable resource for working with ancient Near Eastern materials and databases with the most up-to-date digital tools and methods. The fact that this conference is even happening now is no less than a small miracle. But it is a miracle brought about by the hard work and goodwill of students and colleagues. Funding for the conference was made available through the generosity of Ariel University's Research Authority, the TAD Center here at Tel Aviv, a joint LMU Munich Tau grant, and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. I would like to thank my co-conspirators Hubert Mara and Gabi Stanovsky, as well as Moni Shachar, Scientific Manager of TAD, and Yoram Cohen, Head of the School of Jewish Studies and Archaeology, for their assistance and warm cooperation. I am particularly thankful to my students and lab research associates, Luis, Stav, Sarah, Kostia, and Shmuel, who couldn't do it without you. To my chagrin, this conference also marks the culmination of a year's work with Louis Sands, a PhD research associate from Heidelberg, whose intellect and spirit made much of this conference materialize. Last but by no means least, I would like to thank all of you for coming, whether in person or virtually, to take part in this initiative. Thank you. And now I wish to welcome Elisa Sophia Linke from the FU Berlin. I will just say a few words about her. We saw each other physically perhaps 10 years ago now, but I'm very happy to have her here. She is a junior professor of digital philology and data science of the languages of the ancient world in the FU Berlin. Her expertise is in Egyptian culture and languages. Her interest in digital humanities grew in the course of her dissertation on spatial relations in the Sahidic dialect of Coptic, when she worked on semi-automatic text digitalization methods. This led her to a postdoc in the Göttingen Center for Digital Humanities. She was also the lexicographer, the project database and dictionary of Greek loanwords in Coptic. And she will give us a keynote about sketching digital Egyptology, exploring text, language, and scripts with 21st century technology. Please.